Let's see if everything's on the right place. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fateful Few in the Prayer House, one of our very first Have Faith discussion tables. And because this is our very first one, let's go ahead and introduce our very first few choir boys. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
It's the man with the plan. It's the coach with the brooch. It's your boy, Crowd Esports here.
Nice. Clean.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and see what the next one is.
Hello, everybody. I am one of the holiest of casters here, the greatest of the great play-by-play casters, whose voice is yet to be heard. So far, it's just dreamers, but soon it will be worldwide. How everyone it plays.
That takes the cake. You are definitely the man, the myth, the legend. Who's the next one?
Hello, everyone. It is me, the master-crafted Bardman.
Oh my god.
The deliverer of fresh memes. The dankest tournament manager around, FT Bunny.
Nice. And I am the great person in charge of the establishment. No, I'm not really. The guy who happens to be here for this specific table because I'm the only one with a table, ladies and gentlemen. Army Overlord here as well. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get ourselves right into the topic of discussion here. So for everybody who is in the audience currently, just to let you be aware, this is our very first discussion table. So let's go ahead and get into our discussions here. So, number one, since we have a captain here with us, let's go ahead and start out with him. I gotta know, what does these first 5 teams in the rankings currently look like? FT Bunny, thank you very much for posting these recently. Now we can start our conversation about them. So, Cryo, what do you think?
If we're talking about who we think the top 5 are going to be, I think it's pretty solid who the top 5 are right now. I think the person that's probably the closest to getting into that top 5 is Supernova. But with the strong performances from Have Faith Academy and Crowd Esports recently, it's going to be a lot harder than it would have been for them if they would have won one or more earlier games series.
Okay, Blaze, what you think about this?
About the top 5, I'll agree and say it's relatively clear. Your top 5 teams, Cetra, DK9, Beta Red, Cryo, Have Faith Academy, and slipping in is a battle between Treads and Supernova, and I'm going to lean towards Supernova. I think that there's not really a lot of luck on the side of Dreamers in KWM here, but maybe it's not impossible. But for the most part, I am with Cryo on this one.
Dreamers and KWM just gotta have faith. Ha! Get it?
Clever. FT Bunny, what you got for me?
Well, it's like they had said, yeah, it's pretty clear. Like, these guys that are on the top 5 are mostly, I'd say for the most part, there to stay. I'd say there may be a little bit of a shift between Beta Red and Cetra, or maybe if DK9 actually has a rough week, we might see Cetra shoot to that number 1 spot, because it's almost undoubtable.
When DK loses to us, it'll be Cetra first place. I'll agree with that.
It's a bold claim. But yeah, I think Cetra is perfectly capable of taking that number 1 spot, as well as Beta Red. Have Faith Academy, I think they need to get ramped up a little more, and they could easily move up in the standings as well. And obviously a little bit biased, Supernova needs to kick it up a notch in order to maybe stop picking Bard mid, and they'll be able to move up the standings as well. And Treads,
a little bit of digging up some history, huh?
Yeah, and Treads is tied with them, and I'm not sure when they're playing, but when they do, that will be a very huge determining match.
I'm wondering if Beta Red and Cetra will keep up the solid performances, because Cryo and Have Faith Academy have gotten back-to-back series wins, so they definitely have momentum on their side. And I'm wondering if after that loss to DK9, if Cetra will be able to keep it going, or if they might see their first loss this week, or their second loss.
I mean, I feel Cetra, minus their loss from DK9 are unstoppable, and they're gonna keep going. I feel eventually, with being number 1, being at the top at the moment, DK9 are actually much more likely to get hit by a blue shell than Cetra at the moment. They're just taking their time, sneaking their way into second place for a while, and I feel that DK9 are going to slip up and get second, while Cetra steal the finish line away from them.
Bold.
And I feel like because Beta Red actually had, I believe, 2 games that weren't streamed, isn't it? Like, people are kind of sleeping on them a bit. But I think that when we see a match like Beta Red versus DK9, which is coming up, I think that's going to be a major deciding factor of whether DK9 is on a hot streak and we're a fluke, or whether they're really like in it to win it and they're really going to stay and hold that top spot. Because we saw they took down Cetra, and Cetra was currently the Titans there. And Cetra had taken down Beta Red. So if we look at the standings right now, it would make sense. Like, all these guys have fallen to the next one above them. But this Beta Red versus DK9 is really going to decide whether the tables are going to turn and DK9 is going to fall and who's going to flip to the top.
Okay, guys. Well, sounds like you guys have pretty much very likely thought processes so far on this.
You on this one, but so far I'm gonna have to disagree. And the moment you say that as well, Beta Red, I don't know about that one. So for Beta Red have, correct me if I'm wrong, their wins over Dreamers, Tread, and Cairo. They have yet to face a top team yet. They haven't faced DK9, they haven't faced Cetra, they haven't faced, I want to say Half Faith Academy here, give or take a few things here and there, but for the most part, I need to see Beta Red face. I mean, first I want to see them stream, but second off, I want to see them actually face a top tier team. Because so far they've just been picking up their victories off of the lower tier teams here.
Well, they did also play against, I believe they also played against Centra Gaming once, and I think that was their first loss. So maybe you're on to something there, Blaze. Anyway, back on to the next topic at hand here. So it sounds like, from what I heard from you guys, that DK9 has a good chance of losing a couple of games here. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like DK9 might be able to play maybe a couple more weeks and pretty much guarantee their chances of playoffs, whether they win all of them or not.
I very much agree with you. I think the only series they're going to lose is against us. I think it's going to be Cryo moving up to second eventually. I think Cetra is going to lose a couple of series off of that loss of DK9. Their momentum is just killed. And Beta Red has only played a unorganized Cryo and some terrible teams. So I feel like their record really isn't like up to par with DK9's or Cetra, who have had hard matches. So that's like best case scenario for Cryo. Half Faith Academy, we got to play them semi soon too. So that'll really show where mid table's at. If Cryo can really take it to the top 3, or if they're gonna, stumble around with the Half Faith Academy. But I believe in my boys.
Okay, so before we go on to the next topic here, I just want to say that there are actually a couple of teams that I'm quite interested why it hasn't been really mentioned that much here, and that's actually Treads. I'm kind of thinking, I saw their game on stream once when they played against the Katarina Wine Mixers. They just looked very, very good during that one, and I was actually quite interested to see what their next match was going after that big victory. I was kind of thinking these guys were really starting to look a lot more interesting out there with their first victory. I felt like they had some sort of mystery about them, some sort of way to turn the tide of battle in a small way. But
I do think they're the best of the bottom 3 teams. I don't think they really have a chance against. Well, I would like to see a Treads versus Supernova game, but I think Supernova would still edge that out with some of the experience on their players.
May have been smoking there. I think they actually have not played. Oops, just got some recent information. All right, so I guess we should probably move on to the next topic here. Playoff teams might be speaking a bit early, considering there's a couple of weeks left to go here, but any guarantees going to make the playoffs? Who in this list of the top 5 are guaranteed? Are any of them guaranteed? What do you guys think?
The finals is already guaranteed between Cryo and DK9.
Okay.
I don't know about that one. I've watched some Cryo games here and there, and I've seen some skeptical performances here and there, but where I think Cryo are going to end top 5, yes, but number 5 is where I'm seeing this team. I don't think the Cryo have what it takes to really beat the teams like Faith Academy, DK9, etc., and maybe Beta Red. We have to see more out of them first for who they have and haven't faced yet. I don't think Cryo can beat the teams that are clearly at the top now, like DK9, like etc.
What are your thoughts, Bunny?
I think DK9 is almost a definite just because they're incredibly clean, and even when they're not, they've always got a member of the team to pick up with the slack of another and just completely clean up victories. And I think another one, while they're not low on the standings, they're also not like up in the top 3. I think Have Faith Academy is definitely going to be up there as well, because the way that they like to work with map control, as we've seen from their games, it's a little bit of a longer play style, but if they can actually get it, they basically just long con their way into a guaranteed win, which is very, very safe play style, and it works extremely well for them. Beta Red, etc., I think are also ones that are going to make it as well, and I would like to see, I would also like to see Cryo up there too.
I see how this is. I see.
Like to see Cryo up there with them, and if I was going to expect one from the bottom 4 to upset, I would say it would be Treads. And I say that because I think that the game against Dreamers, even though you could say Dreamers is also like a lower team on the standings, the game against Dreamers just looks so incredibly clean. I think that if Tread can reproduce that against some of the higher level teams, then they will easily be able to make it to playoffs.
Does anybody know whose Tread's 3 games were against?
I realize now it's not Katarina Wine Mixers, but I've also realized
Dreamers,
it's Dreamers,
I can
yes.
tell you that much, and that was that.
Yeah,
Just
that
put it one way.
Quite an interesting matchup with how I believe they got one of the fastest finishes currently in the Half Faith Esports.
We'll set the new record when we play them tomorrow.
We'll see for sure. But anyway, I think Treads, because we're sitting on when we're talking about the wild card here at this point, which is where 6th place is, because as a 6th place team, as long as you've got enough wins to get yourself in, that still counts as making yourself into the playoffs here. So I mean, one day we could see Have Faith Academy maybe drop a couple of wins and then fall right out of the race because it just happens to be Supernova and Treads coming around and getting a couple of wins or not. But as you guys were saying earlier, middle of the pack is a bit of an interesting point of topic. So I think Treads and Supernova have some good race here that we will see develop very soon.
One thing that I think would be interesting, and it's very possible, if you guys ever have kept up with like European football, one common thing is there's usually like 3 top teams that just smash everybody, and then it's like once they get like 2-3 weeks in, they randomly just stop performing, and it's a consistent thing. They have a word for it, but I can't remember what it's called. And I can see something similar here. Something similar here happening, where we have such strong top 5s that if they start taking out each other, one of these smaller teams could easily just pick up wins against some of the other bottom teams and just sneak right up to the top 5.
It's a very likely possibility, and I agree.
Because the gap between the top teams just isn't that far apart.
What'd you think, Blaze?
I definitely agree. This is a good point, and for the most part, I support it. But with how things have played out so far, I don't see Tread making it in to the playoffs. I just don't. I feel there's actually more momentum for Supernova to make it in than Tread.
Okay.
I have to see a little bit more out of them, but so far I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this team. For me, if I'm gonna throw some fire on the desk here, I know you and Cairo and Cryo and Tread are facing off against each other. I think you guys should win it, but you need a Hecarim turret dive in there first, just to guarantee.
All right, Blaze, thank you for your words of wisdom here. Bunny, your last thoughts here on this middle of the pack question.
Yeah, in the case of what is going to happen, I do like the point that Cryo made about the littler teams being able to flip it as the higher teams take each other out. Because if we're looking now, DK9 or Beta Red are going to get another loss by the end of this week, just because they're playing each other. So we're definitely going to see that happen. So one of them may end up shifting as a result. And then Half Faith Academy is also facing Cetra. So that's also going to be another major top fight going on.
Cryo number 2, baby. Cryo number 2.
So all that needs to happen really is, say for example, and actually we're even seeing Supernova versus Treads as well. So all these like big like shifting teams that matchups that need to happen are actually going to be taking place. So I'd say we'll have a very good idea what's happening, if not by the end of this week. But I do think it's perfectly possible for people like Treads and Supernova to shift up there.
Okay, well then I think, guys, we've talked for quite a good period of time so far here. I think seems like a decent time to bring in our final statements here. I think it's quite clear what your final statement is, but let's go ahead and hear it again, Captain of Cryo Esports.
It's going to be a 2-0 week for Cryo. They're going to end either 2nd or 3rd place. They're coming for DK9 in the series after next. Looking forward to it.
Well, there you have it. No doubt in his mind it's going to be a great match. Can't wait to cast it personally. Blaze, what's your final thoughts?
It'll be a good match, but Cryo top 3 not happening. I'm willing to put some money down for that. Cryo are not gonna make top 3. Quote me on this right now.
Put some money down, this man says. Put some money down.
How much? I'll bet $5 to make top 3.
You know what? $5. I'm feeling quite bold on this one. I'm gonna put down $50 on the table.
Oh my god!
Drops the 50 and starts to walk away.
5 to 50. You're not confident.
Drops a 50 and starts walking away.
Exactly.
I'll take that bet.
Okay.
And the hands have been shucking, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and see what Bunny. What do you think? You gonna throw your hat into the ring here, calling the bluff, raising it? What are you feeling?
I mean, I hate to flame good old Cryo Esports here, but Cryo passing
traitor!
Cryo passing DK9 is as likely as Jake Paul passing PewDiePie and subscribers.
Oh,
I gotta say,
this guy.
The action, guys, come on. This is a prayer house. You guys can't drop flame.
You guys call yourself the faithful few? Get out of here. We need some new people, Army.
I'm gonna have to
I know,
put
right?
25-cent quarter in the pool towards Cryo not making it to the top 3. Because I don't have money, I'm a student.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I too have no money, but I'm still making this bet. That's how confident I am.
Okay, well, as for Cryo making the top 3, I think I'm just gonna have to have faith. All right, well there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a good way to end it. Go ahead and sound your guys' selves off. It's time to close up shop.
All right, thanks for having me. Pleasure talking about my thoughts on the thing. I'm looking forward to getting $50 from this guy. I'll excuse myself. Have a good one, guys.
All right, that was Cryo Esports, by the way. Go ahead, Blaze.
Yep. I'm looking forward to, of course, casting more games in Half Faith Esports and being on the receiving end of the $50.
Oh.
So.
Well, there you have it. All right, Blaze. Thanks for stopping by, man. FT Bunny, what's your last words, man, my friend?
I gotta say, the next few games over this week are gonna be some major game changers, just because of how the standings are right now and what games are taking place. There's going to be some shifts by the end, and yeah, it's gonna be a show to watch. I'd like to extend a thank you to everybody who supported us up to this point, and again, I'm gonna be getting my quarterback as well. Sorry, Cryo.
All right. Well, bets aside, thank you very much for everyone watching and everyone going to be watching. This was Army Overlord and the others. Well, I think it's quite obvious who they were. Want to say thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed watching. I hope you guys enjoyed opinions being dropped, bets being made, and finally, opinions being crossed. Thank you very much for watching, and good night, everybody, as I'll go ahead and close the prayer house doors.